She almost didn't get on that plane, but she did, and it became the worst day of her life. These are real stories, real people, real warnings. If this is your kind of content, subscribe, because every case on this channel really happened. It was a bright morning in California, April 26th, 1976. A small airfield near Oakland, clear sky, light wind, nothing unusual. But for Lauren Elder, something felt wrong. Not fear, not panic, just a quiet, persistent feeling that she should not get on that plane. And yet, she did. Lauren was 29 years old, confident, active, used to flying. Her father had been a pilot, airplanes were part of her life. This trip was supposed to be simple. A short, scenic flight, out and back in a single day, a picnic, photos, adventure. Her boyfriend was meant to take the seat, but at the last moment he stayed behind for work. So Lauren took his place. A small decision, one that would change everything. The aircraft was a small Cessna, light, reliable, familiar. Pilot Jay Fuller sat at the controls. His companion John sat beside him. Lauren took the back seat. She fastened her belt, forced a smile, and moments later the plane lifted into the sky. The first hours were peaceful. Golden fields stretched below them, dark green forests rolled across the landscape. Lauren took photographs. The light was beautiful. The air was calm. Everything felt easy, almost perfect, until the mountains appeared. Ahead of them rose the Sierra Nevada, snow-covered peaks, sharp ridges, deep valleys. The view was breathtaking, but something changed in the air. The plane began to feel smaller, the sky tighter. Lauren felt tension in her chest. Pilot Jay Fuller made a decision. Instead of following the safer pass through the mountains, he guided the aircraft into a narrow valley. The cliffs rose on both sides, higher, closer. The air grew thinner. The engine worked harder. And Lauren realized they were running out of space. Fuller stayed calm. He turned back briefly and smiled. He said it was just turbulence, just a rough patch of air. But Lauren looked forward and saw the rock wall approaching. The engine roared. The aircraft struggled to climb. Time slowed, then impact. Silence. Cold air. Broken metal. Lauren opened her eyes inside the wreckage. Snow drifted through shattered windows. The aircraft had stopped on a steep mountainside. Not far from the edge, they were alive, but stranded. Jay Fuller was injured. Jean drifted in and out of consciousness. Lauren herself was badly hurt, but she could still move. The radio was silent. No flight plan had been filed. No one knew where they were. There would be no quick rescue, only the mountains and time. Temperatures dropped quickly, below freezing. They had no blankets, no proper food, no winter gear. Lauren wore only light clothing, not meant for the mountains. Using a lighter and fuel, she managed to start a fire. They gathered close, holding on to warmth, holding on to hope. As the night deepened, their situation worsened. John stopped responding. Later, Jay followed. The mountain was silent again. Lauren was alone. Completely alone. Morning arrived slowly over the mountains. The air was cold and heavy. The sky was gray and silent. Lauren stood beside the wreckage and looked around. In that moment, she understood the situation clearly. If she stayed, the cold would take her strength. If she waited, no one would know where to find her. Help was not coming. There was only one choice left. She had to move. She looked down the slope. Rock, ice, sharp drops, every step dangerous, but she could still walk. And that was enough. She began moving, step by step. Her shoes quickly fell apart. They were never meant for mountains. She tore pieces from her clothing and wrapped them around her feet. Improvised protection, painful, fragile, but necessary. The only way forward was forward. The first hours ran on adrenaline. Her hands gripped frozen rock. Her legs shook with exhaustion. Sometimes she thought she saw shapes ahead. People, roads, light, hallucinations. Her mind searching for hope. She kept moving. The cliff slowly gave way to a valley. Dry riverbeds, open land, silence. Lauren could barely feel her body now, but she continued, one step then another, always forward. Hours later, she noticed something ahead. Faint lights appeared in the distance. At first, she wasn't sure they were real, but they stayed there, steady and bright. It was a small town. Independence, California, a sign of people, a sign of safety. Gathering the last of her strength, she kept moving toward the lights. She reached the first building in town. It was a small roadside motel. She knocked on the door and waited. Someone opened it, looked at her, and quietly closed it again. Her appearance scared them. She looked lost, injured, and completely exhausted. She tried another place, hoping for help, but the response was the same. By now, she could barely stay on her feet. Still, she refused to stop and kept moving forward. At the third place, the door stayed open. An elderly couple listened. Moments later, a sheriff arrived. He looked at her and immediately understood. This was no ordinary traveler. This was survival. At the hospital, doctors confirmed everything: injuries, exhaustion, exposure to the cold. But she had made it. She'd walked out of the mountains alone. The crash site was later found high on the slope. Jay Fuller and Jean never left the mountain, but Lauren did. Her journey became more than survival. It became a story of decision, of instinct, of refusing to stop. Lauren's story reminds us intuition matters. Sometimes we feel danger before we see it. Strength appears when everything else disappears. And survival is not luck, it is choice, repeated again and again, step by step. In the end, the mountains did not take her life. She found the strength to keep moving. Step by step, she made her way back to civilization. She walked out on her own, and from that moment on, her story became a reminder that survival begins with the decision not to give up.